Tana Rabbana. 4 lines from the bottom. Rashi says, what happened? You have an Aver min achai, a whole limb, and you carved out of the limb a kazayis basar. Chatachai, so like this. Aver min achai is not food. Why? Because nobody can eat it. Unless you decide that you're going to give it to the guy and have the guy eat it. The guy is going to be over on his isser, and you're going to be over on your isser by giving it to him, lifnei iver. So then you created food. The question is, when did you create this food? When did you have this machshava? Before you cut it out, before you carved it out, or after? Says the Gemara, makes a big difference. If you first carved it out, and then you thought that you're going to give it to the goyitar. But if you thought about giving it to the guy, so now it's attached to the aver. The aver is what? Aver min achai is tamei because of an avela. It's tamei like an avela. And now that you cut off this little piece from the aver, it received tumah from the larger aver as an avela.
So Torah means it can't become tumah.
Yeah. It's not an avela. It's nothing. Rabbi Asi loy ola bei midrasha. The Gemara says Rabbi Asi didn't go to yeshiva one day. Ashkechel Reb Zera, and they were learning the sugya. Amalei my omer bei midrasha. What's going on in Beis Medrash in the sugya? Amalei my kashlach, and you know the sugya we're learning. You have a difficulty. He says yes. Amalei diktoni chishev achach hatochi tamei. Because we just learned that if you think about making it food and then only afterwards if you made it into food and then you cut it, then it's tummy. What's the question? Tumas beis hastarim hi. The tumas beis hastarim loy mitamo. Very good here, because here's the piece of meat. This is the basar. No, and this is the aver. Right now, everything is nevela. I want to make this. So I cut it right over here. The place that I cut it, right over here, is hidden. It's you can't see it unless you cut it. After you cut it, you see the connection, but the connection is hidden from view. And the only way that this piece of basar gets tumah from this piece of nevela is by touching when it's still attached. But when it was attached, it's hidden. So how did the tumah go through? Tumah can't go through. Beis hastarim. Believe it or not, I had the same exact question, says Reb Zera. And I asked Rabbi Ramam what to do about Mali. So no, there is a man the Omar called Reb Meir. The Omar Tumas Beis Hastarim Mitama. Believe it or not, we actually learned it in the Masechta once upon a time. I'll remind you. If you have an animal that its fetus sticks its hand out of the body of her mother, and you chop off that arm that stuck out, the arm, says Reb Meir, is tamei for whatever reason. That in return makes the rest of the fetus inside the body tamei. But the question is, it's tumas beis hastarim. The place that you cut off, how is there a connection between the limb that was protruding outside to the baby inside, to the fetus inside? The only way was through that one limb before you cut it. But that area that you cut, the area that was cut, is hidden. You can't see it until you open it, until you cut it. That's tumas beis hastarim. Nevertheless, Reb Meir says that the tumah goes by. Goes through. Omalei, v'lavzim sagin, amar kamoi, v'amrei shoni lei, Reb Meir bein tumah de baya hechsher, ubein tumah de loy baya hechsher. Didn't I say many times that you have to do hechsher? Omar Rava, and over here, you're talking about that he chopped off the small piece. There's no hechsher. Omar Rava, my kusha dilma kishu b'shuhsha.
Meaning that he only holds of this tumas
right
when it doesn't need a hechsher.
Right. Omalei Rabbi Chanan l'Rava lomali hechsher harei mitama tumah chamura agav aviv. Why are you saying Rava? That maybe it's talking about there was a hechsher over here. At the end of the day, this nevela this Eiver Menachai is like a Tumas Nevela, it's a Tuma Chamura, and anything that has a Tuma Chamura doesn't require a Hechsher. And this piece of Basar was attached to this Nevela. Says Rava, an amazing pshat, you're not going to like it so much, but based on this amazing pshat, the Gemara says 5 other things, 5 other ideas, 5 other areas that we have a little bit of a difficulty, very simple stuff. But what's his concept? He says like this. Omar le kishashimish maise eitz shimish. Basically, Rav is saying that this piece of meat that was attached to the Eiver Menachai was wood. Only after that you cut it off did it become food. In other words, you have a whole Eiver. In the Eiver you have sinews, you have bones, and you have meat. It's not food. Nothing is meat. It's all Mekabel Tumah because it's Mekabel Tumah, not because it's food. You don't have to make it food to be Mekabel Tumah. The whole Eiver is Metama as is. Everything in it. The bones, the sinews, the meat. It's not the food that makes it Tameh. It's it being there that makes it Tameh. Now once you remove that piece of meat, then it turns into food. Says Rashi, Palim Chadosh is Bolakan. All of a sudden now you created food. But what Rav is saying is that I could have a piece of food that's wood. I could change it into food once I cut it up and I make it bite size or whatever. But beforehand it's wood.
Wood doesn't need a hechsher.
What? And wood does need a hechsher. Wood does need a hechsher. The question is, this food that's attached to an avela doesn't need a hechsher because eventually any food that becomes tumah chamura, becomes an avela, doesn't need a hechsher. So why does this basar need a hechsher? Why do you have to put water? The answer is because it's not food. It's wood, and wood needs a hechsher. Wood doesn't have this concept that it's eventually going to be a tumah chamura, doesn't need a hechsher. Omar Abaya, and this is mamish. Chishev olav.
Right? That's what we said.
Yeah. Right? We're talking about exactly. We're talking about he decided.
You're chishev olav lebasar, but that doesn't mean anything really, so long as it's attached.
Right. Because the whole Eiver is basar anyways. Everything is. Yeah, I knew you're not gonna. It's deep. We have to think about it. We have to explain it better, maybe. Says Abaye based on this. Harei Amru. I take a giant piece of leaven of chametz. I want to make it into a cheer. So the halacha is I could use it on Pesach. I have no problem. It's not chametz. Not only is it not chametz, but it's a cheer that it becomes tamei b'moishav. Tamei b'moishav is a tumah chamura, and food stuff like wheat can't become a tumah chamura. Tumah chamura is that it's matama kalim. It's matama adam kalim. It's avatuma. Food can't be avatuma. So then, how did you make this leaven, this sa'ir, into a tumah chamura? How did it work? Says Abaya, you must say tumas alav deraisa. It's only the rabbanon tumah. That's how it works. Because if you say it's not a derabanan, it's a deraisa, then all of a sudden we have a contradiction to our concept that anything that food can't become a tumah chamura. Says the Gemara, but according to what Rava just said, that if I flip this wheat into a chair, I make it into wood, now it could become tumah chamura. It's no longer food. No longer food, then it fits right into the concept that food doesn't become a tumah chamura. A chair, a piece of wood does become a tumah chamura. And over here in his mind, he said, I'm not using this block of sa'ir as food, I'm using it as a chair. When he was mevatel from food and he made it into wood. Omar Abaya, and another thing. B'kitzur, it's the same thing. We're going to say 5 things that are very similar. Right? If you take food, let's say this is food, and I say I'm making this avodah zara, so now I put this in a house, the whole house becomes tamei, tumas oil. Oil is extremely severe tumah. A mace does oil. Saras does oil. How did this food turn into a tumah chamura when food cannot be a tumah chamura? The answer is it's not food. Why is it not food? Because once I make this avodah zara, it becomes asur bahana. Asur bahana, we said yesterday, according to Reb Shimon at least, this mandarin that say asur bahana is not food anymore. You can't eat it. It's not food. So if it's not food, the mela, it turns into a tumah chamura of oil. Kishashimesh, Maisa Eid Shimesh. Omar Abaye, Hare Omru, Chiburi Ochlin. You have a kli. In the kli, you have a giant hole. So what does he do with the hole? He plugs it up with dough. Now, normally, if I touch dough, that dough doesn't have the power to make a kli tameh because it's food, and food cannot become a tumah chamura. In order to make another kli tameh, I have to be a tumah chamura. I have to be avatumah to give off the kli. Yet this dough that I plugged the hole with does have the ability to make tumah chamura. So what do you see? You have to say the same answer again. That the dough turned into wood. It turned into a kli. I was mevatel it from food, and I made it into a kli. So Abaye starts off saying, you must say that the reason why this dough gives off tumah, it's a fake tumah. It's a derabbanan kind of tumah. Because then that would be a big question on our concept that food cannot be a tumah chamura. But Rav is going to say, but it turned into wood. This is slightly different, Rashi explains. It's a different angle, but it's the same concept. We had this before, yesterday, the day before. Chaylev nevela. You have the covering of a kidney, that's an nevela. You have the chaylev, you have the fat that covers, we saw it in our demonstration, right? The fat that covers the kidney is what? So we said, in a village where they don't eat this fat, because for some reason the poor people in the village often have a lot of meat. They don't know what to do with this giant cow. So they say, we're not going to eat the garbage. We're not going to eat the fat. In the cities, they do eat the fat because they don't have enough meat. Fine. Kapanim, we said that since if somebody decides that he wants to eat the meat, he has to be machshir this piece of chaylev. He has to pour water on it. It's not part of the animal anymore. Because it wasn't considered food. So what's the Gemara's kasha? The Gemara's kasha is a little bit from the other direction. A little bit of a reverse here. This sorry. This tumah that it has, the problem is that the chaylev is a shomer. The chaylev is a shomer. So why do you need a hechsher? It should be part of the kidney, and it should be it shouldn't need a hechsher. That's the Gemara's question. It shouldn't need a hechsher. It's a little bit of a reverse. This says the Gemara, it's a shomer, meaning it's a piece of wood. It's a piece of wood, no different than, let's say, the hooves of an animal and the horn of an animal that are shomerim, but they need hechsher. So it's the same. The idea is that we're not viewing it as food, we're viewing it as wood. Because if it was food, it wouldn't require a hechsher tumah, because it's part of the kidney. It's a shomer to the kidney. Omer of Masna Hari Omru Bayis Shesichachoy Bizroim Torah. You made a ceiling out of food to Masi Lav Deraisa. These are Gedayach Deraisa Matzinu Lizroim Shemetama Tumah Chamura. So if the house became afflicted with tzaras, then the tzaras goes into the food, into your ceiling. But how could tzaras go into my ceiling? It's made out of food, and food doesn't acquire tumah, chamura. Again, you have to say that the ceiling is wood. I flipped it in my mind, I took it out of zroim, I made it into 2x4s or whatever. Because shimish ma'isa eitz, shimish. Okay, now we had in the Mishnah. What part? That like Ravi, you mean? Yeah. That the Shimish might say
to make a Play-Doh. I mean, Play-Doh on Pesach is a problem.
Where's the halacha over here? Koifes sa'ir. Doesn't seem like that's the halacha. Gimel? I don't think so. No, it doesn't look like that's the halacha. I don't think we pass like. So we had. The Mishnah has 3 parts to it.
So the Gemara is saying,
yeah.
Talking about the chair.
The chair. They like the chair. The Play-Doh chair.
But why should Play-Doh be
okay? So we have 3 parts to the Mishnah. We have the first part. The Mishnah starts off saying that there's a dangling limb to a live animal. Then there's a dangling limb to a shechted animal. And a dangling limb,
We know why.
Not dangling.
We know why they shut you down.
Animal cruelty.
Why you keep on saying dangling limb?
we spoke about other things. The fetuses, the stuff. That's we just even said chopped off the hand of the fetus. Right.
The only thing that
That's
is
what it was.
possible today in the world is animal cruelty. Everything else is mutter.
Human cruelty is mutter. Yeah, it's true. Rabbi say you're holding a cup here. There's 3 stages in the Mishnah. First, it goes in order. First, it started off with an animal that's completely alive and his limb is dangling off. And we said that if you pour water on that dangling limb, you can make it tamei tumas oichlin, even though it's attached. Then the second step of the Mishnah was you shechted the animal. And then the third step of the Mishnah was the animal dropped dead. Okay? So that's the worst, drop dead. Now we're holding in drop dead. What does it say, drop dead? Reb Shimon mitayr. Reb Shimon says, this limb that's attached, the dangling limb, the nebuch animal, right? It went through some sort of terrible trauma. Its foreleg, let's say, is dangling. And eventually it died, nebuch, from its wounds. So that dangling limb, Reb Shimon says, is tar. It's not an avela. So what's the question? Memanav shach. How can it not be an avela? Either it's an avela or it's an aver min achai, but either one is tamei. If it came off and you consider this as something that came off while it was alive, so it came off while it was alive. Aver min achai, we know a full aver, a whole foreleg, is tamei. Aver min achai. And if you don't say that you say, oh, but it's attached by a string. It's not aver min achai. Okay, so now today the animal died, so now it became an avela. How could Rav Shimon say that it's tar? Manav shach. Oh, so here, they love to throw in this complicated concept, just to throw us off a little bit. But misa oisa nipul. What does it mean? It sounds great. If the animal dies, retroactively it was detached. That's what it means. Nipul, it fell off. When did it fall off? When it died.
Animal dies.
No. If it had a dangling limb on Sunday and it died on Friday, so misa, when it dies, the dangling limb became detached on Sunday, not on Friday. That's what retroactively I detached its limb.
Still in the veil then.
No.
It's attached.
No. That's the whole point. If it became detached retroactively, so on Sunday it was alive. So meaning its limb is an aver min achai.
Which is still usher.
Correct.
Tamei.
Correct. That's exactly what the Gemara is asking. Manashach. If you go retroactively and it fell off while he was alive, it should be tamei as an avela of aver min achai. And if you don't go retroactively, when it died, that's when the aver also died. So today it's an avela. Says the Gemara, Reb Shimon Areisha Koi. You're right. Okay, so this is what a Gemara does a lot of times. It's going through all the steps just to make sure we went through everything. Obviously, the Gemara doesn't like this very much. The Gemara is just saying, maybe if some guy is going to want to say that Reb Shimon, even though he said his words all the way at the end of the Mishnah, he didn't really mean the end of the Mishnah. He meant to say it on the beginning of the Mishnah. Let's say some guy wanted, I'm going to tell you that that's not true. That doesn't work, and I'll prove it to you. It's going through the steps, even though some of these steps are not, they don't even make so much sense. How's it possible that the Reb Shimon said it at the end and he meant it on the beginning? Okay, yeah.
Technical question. Can you Skype this live? Because it's got Donna Davis on saying, are we learning today?
We could, but it's going to stop the shear now. So.
Who, David?
Bernard.
Oh, Bernard David, and then you have the other David from Costa Rica, from California, who was very watching.
Just Skype him right now. Do your WhatsApp. Turn on your WhatsApp and start.
Oh, what, he's going to hold the phone the whole time? The problem, okay, hopefully by what? By tomorrow night we should have a solution.
Yeah. I already have it. I already downloaded.
So why don't we do it right now? Go live now.
Because again, it's going to stop it.
No, this will continue. This will upload, and then we'll erase that and do that.
No,
fine. Anyways, we're holding one Amid in. Sorry.
We should just finish now, and the guy will have to watch the share.
Okay.
We'll upload it now.
Rabbi David. He didn't miss yet. It's the whole Chabura. It's not just him. By the way, Mazel Tov. I don't know if they're watching. They're not watching. There's some guy from here. I forgot his name.
What do you mean, nobody?
No, but if they watch it later, so I'm saying Mazel Tov. This guy in England that watches. I forgot his name, but he made there's an engagement. Echad min chabura made an engagement. It's a big simcha. We all have to fly. We're all flying in for the chasana.
Kiddush.
Send the plane.
All right. Zog the Gemara, Reb Shimon, Areshikoy. Do we have any announcements? Matzah Shabbos at 9:00. Sunday is my last shir until the unbelievable Magid Shir. Reb Noam Fix is going to step in. Rabbi Isai, today is the last day of the very difficult Perek Ha'arva Ha'roitev. It gets much easier. I'm not kidding. It's much easier. I'm leaving him off in good hands. We got the last few program easy stuff. Then we have B'cheres Mamish easy. It's all good from here. It's like no joke. It's I'm leaving him off with easy stuff. And he's gonna say, big.
But what about all the
big deal?
All the charts and all the.
You're gonna help him out. The same person that helped me in the beginning. He's gonna help him. Yeah.
You have the kid at Ali's house?
I'll give you my printer and ink, and let's go.
No, we're gonna use the house.
Yeah, the house.
I'm not here.
You can use my studio upstairs, record the 8-minute, whatever you want. The whole
I'm
time.
not here for Pesach either. So
Who's doing the 8-minute?
you are. What do you mean?
You do the 8 minutes wherever you are.
That doesn't have any excuse.
Okay.
Or wherever you are.
Wherever you are. First time ever. Last night, 3:00 in the morning, I was so excited. Finished my 8-minute for Shabbos. It's the first time ever.
Unbelievable.
But I'm going to go right back because I'm going to be on the plane on Sunday and skiing. Anyways.
Excuse me. Why can't you do the
What?
8 minute on the plane? Record the 8 minute on the plane.
Yeah, sure.
Actually, why?
I do have an idea to do 8-minute on the ski slope, with the
No, why
snowboard.
don't you,
Be a little bit
why don't
sugar,
you
but
record it on the plane? You're flying business anyways.
I'm not flying business. I'm with my kids.
So we're everywhere.
Says the
By the
Gemara.
way, that is part of. You should just know.
Okay, no, Rabbi say.
That is
Okay,
part of the
because
video.
we're offline. These
That
guys
is
keep
part
us
of
in
the video.
check. These guys, look at this.
That's part of the video. To record the 8 minutes.
I know, but you won't hear anything. You'll hear.
No, you won't. You'll do it. You will hear.
No, you'll hear.
Okay, I'll just tell you one Maisa. 2-3 years ago, I was on the plane and I was doing FaceTime with my father, learning with him Chavrusa. So I put on my headphones. Also, my wife says the entire plane hears you. I'm like, what are you talking about? The pshat is there. Like, and I have my head. Those guys that are singing to themselves and she's like, hello, don't please. I'm arguing. But it's so gishmak. I had Wi-Fi on the plane. I learned with him Chavrusa for a full hour. Okay, anyways, fine. Yeah, it's not such a good idea. I'm going to record this 8 minute. It's like, excuse me, sir. You're disturbed. A few complaints.
It's good for the
I'm
video
trying to think. Yeah, it is good. Fine. You're right. Okay. In business class would be a great idea. Reb Shimon Mitar Monavshach. Now talking about business class, my son-in-law found on Dan's deals. I forgot how much it cost. Close to $20,000 ticket on Cathay Pacific from Vietnam to New York. So of course he took the flight to Vietnam. He was there for 3 days with my daughter, and then they got on this. He sent me thing, whatever, a whole trip China. Yeah. And then he sat like a king for $800. It was a $20,000 glitch to $800. He paid less than a regular ticket. He sat in a room. They each got like this giant. Oh, it wasn't the room. I thought it was going to be the room, but over there you could videotape no problem. But that would be like a little bit gaudy. Like, look at me sitting this TV in the background, the whole zach. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, we got to go back there.
5 minutes.
15 minutes.
Now that you guys don't know where I'm holding, so anyways, I'm holding on the daf. Hadron Allah Ha'arva Ha'roitev. You have no idea what's going on, Rabbi say. Okay, fine. Reb Shimon Mitar. Okay, Reb Shimon HaReishakai. Reb Shimon is going on the beginning of the Mishnah. What's the beginning of the Mishnah? The beginning of the Mishnah is where the animal is alive and we have a dangling aver. So on that, Reb Shimon says, the Tanakhama says that you need to pour water on it. Reb Shimon Mitar, he says it's nothing. Omer Abasi, Omer B'Yochanan, my time of the Reb Shimon. Why did Reb Shimon say it doesn't become tamei? Or makromi kala oichel asher yi ochel. It has to be edible. Oichel sheta yochel hachila acherim kari oichel. Oichel sheta yochel hachila acherim ein kari ochel. We're turning the page for those of you who forgot where we are. Daf Kufchof Tes. So what's going on here? Since it's Eiver Menachai, so it's not food that's edible. Yes, the guy wants to be Eiver Isser, that's his problem. But in terms of food, it's not food. And Meila, it's not Mekabel Tuma. So you're making a doichak here. Tell me, Reb Shimon, who said his statement at the end of the Mishnah, is really meant it on the beginning of the Mishnah. This is the pshat that we said yesterday the whole time. Since it's dangling by a thread, so it's connected. So if it's connected, it can't be tamei. The Sanya Yichu Shel Teino Shenifshach Umaura Beklipa. We had a branch that broke off, but it's holding on by a thin thread. Rabbi Yehuda Metaher. Why is Rabbi Yehuda Metaher? Because a Ma'ura, it's Mechuber. So you see the concept of Mechuber, therefore it's not becoming Tamei, nothing to do with what you just said. What's the reason of Rabbi Yehuda? Okay, so let me try something else. The Reish of the Mishnah wasn't a good attempt, so let me try something else, which is also not so gishmak. It's going on the middle part of the Mishnah. What's the middle part of the Mishnah? Nishchata abeima. You have an animal with a dengel in and you shechted it abeima. Nishchata abeima shubur domel. The Remeir says that through the shchita, the dangling limb already had hechsher tuma. It is ready to become tamei. Reb Shimon Omer lo yuchshru. I still have to pour some liquid on it. Omer Reb Yochanan, my time Reb Shimon Omer Kro mikol oichel hashe yochel. Oichel shata yochel achila acherim kar oichel. Oichel shenata yochel achila acherim ein kar yochel. B'dilma, maybe the pshat of Reb Shimon is time Reb Shimon bahi iked Rabba iked Reb Yochanan. Yesterday we said 6 different reasons why the hechsher doesn't work. Either because the handle is way too big, it doesn't make any sense to have a giant handle, an animal that weighs 1,000 pounds, to a little limb. Or Rabbi Yochanan said pshat. What did Rabbi Yochanan say pshat? That if I lift it up by a small part and it breaks off, the big part breaks off, so it's not connected. Halachically, it shouldn't be connected. Or the opposite, it is connected. And then we said 4 other pshatim that the Gemara ignores here, because this was before the time of the 4 pshatim. The 4 pshatim came in a later generation. So the Gemara says, Ike de Rabba, Ike de Rabbi Yochanan. I have at least 2 pshatim. Okay, so let's go back to the real pshat, what we thought in the beginning. But what was our question in the beginning? The question is in the beginning, if I have an entire Aver, I have a Mimanav Shach, either it's in a Vela or it's Aver Minachai, but how could it be Tahar? Says the Gemara, Velava Aver. He's never talking about a limb. He's talking about a piece of basar, ela basar. That what? Meisa behema, habasar tzarech hechsher. Reb Shimon Metayer. That piece of meat doesn't need hechsher. It doesn't become tamei. Omer Reb Yochanan, my time, Reb Shimon, Omer Kram, Kol Oichel sheyachel. Oichel sheyachel achil acherim kari oichel. Oichel sheyachel achil acherim and kari oichel. This piece of meat from an aver minachai doesn't become tamei because it's not food that I could give. You have an aver, that's an aver minachai, fine, it's a whole limb. But a piece of meat, that's not an aver minachai, it's not tamei. It's not nevela. It's really part of the aver minachai, but since it's a small piece, it doesn't have a din of aver, and it's tar. Says the Mishnah, this is really bad stuff. You have a human being that has a dangling limb. You didn't have a dangling limb, please. That's not a dangling limb. You had a dislocated shoulder.
I dislocated my shoulder and he ran out to get a camera to take pictures.
I didn't take run out. I had it in my pocket and I took pictures.
You ran out to
For dangling limb.
And now you have pictures of your dangling limb. Nobody would believe you before. Your final injury on the basketball court. He's a big star. No one was a big star on the court. Nobody will know because there's no pictures.
That hurts.
Yeah. And the Chacham Manishtana makes a comeback 2 months later. His first shot, he dislocates it again. And that was it. So now he's stuck to table tennis. He's a ping pong champion. And what is it called? Tai Chi, whatever. Okay. Anybody that wants to get into shape, Noam is... What is it called? Okay, hold on. We have the terminology here.
They can tighten the shoulder capsule with the surgical procedure.
Yeah, he doesn't want to go through that. Not for basketball.
The Knicks withdrew their offer.
So if you have a dangling limb, a guy's arm gets severed in a war, and he comes home, and somebody touches it, you don't become tummy from it because it's attached to his body. It says kiyomas, you have to die in order for tumah to occur. Mesa adam, if the person actually died from his wounds, habasar tahar. Now, let's go back to the concept. Misa oisa nipul. What does that mean? Retroactive. Misa oisa nipul. So after this human being dies, it comes out that when he was blown up in the war, that's when his limb came off. Not today. So, but then he was alive. So his limb is an aver menachai. It's right, correct. Habasar tahar. Why? Because it's basar menachai, and basar menachai is tahar. Very good. Thanks. Ha'aver mitama mishum aver min achai. But the aver has a halacha of aver min achai, ve'en mitama mishum aver min hameis. And the Gemara is going to explain what the difference is if something's an aver min achai or aver min hameis. The Reb Meir, Reb Shimon mitayr. Reb Shimon ben Banavshach. Reb Shimon ben Banavshach. Misa oisa nipol. If the death makes a retroactive disconnect, l'tamim mishum aver min achai. So then his aver should be connected when he had his injury initially, and it should be aver min achai and should be tamei. Why is he saying not tamei? V'yein misa oisa nipol. And if you don't say retroactive, but today it happened, l'tamim mishum aver min hameis. Then you have a whole limb that the guy just died today, and a mace is a mace, and an aver of a mace is an aver min a mace. Mimanav shach. It's a whole limb. It should be mitama. Says the Gemara of Shimon Balmakoi. He's talking about the general rule. The Amar Tanakama aver mitama mishum aver min achai ve'ein mitama mishum aver min a mace. The Tanakama said that there's a difference between aver min achai and aver min a mace. Alma aver hameis ba'alma mitama. You're taking for granted, and this is an amazing thing that we're going to hear today. If the aver of a live person, a guy's walking around the street and his arm gets chopped off, what do we say happens to his arm? Tummy. It's an aver, a full aver of a live person, aver min achai. We're not even talking about food now. When the Torah talks about, let's say, shratzim, and that was my mistake that day, it's talking about tumah, not food. Aver min achai is tumah, not food necessarily. There's two parts to it. You can't eat an aver min achai. But the Torah says this tumah of aver min achai. When we're talking about a human being, we're not talking about eating him. We're talking about what kind of tumah does his aver min achai give off? It gives a full tumah. Yet after he dies, says Reb Shimon, that same aver is not tumah. It almost doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because you can say a kavachomer. If when he's alive he's tumah, so if you add all the chumras of tumah of a dead person, so certainly the aver should be tumah. No, it's tahar. Why? I don't know. That's what my Rebbe said. No, nipple will make it aver min achai. Nipple going backwards retroactively, so it would be aver min achai, and aver min achai is tummy anyways. That's what the Gemara is asking.
When he dies, it becomes tamar, in other words?
Yeah.
At that moment?
No, it was never tummy. It was never tummy because it was a.
Anybody who touches it?
No. An aver that comes off while he's alive is tummy aver min achai. That tumah never goes away. We're talking about that it was dangling by a thread.
Hanging.
It's hanging. It's hanging. His body becomes tummy, and that aver that died today is tar. Why? Let's see inside. So here the Gemara says like this. Rabbi Lezer says, "Shomati shever min achai metama." I heard that only a aver min achai makes tuma, but not a aver min hameis. You have to make a diuk over here. What are you talking about? If a live person who he himself is tar, yet his limb that comes off is tamei, certainly if I add the tremendous tumah that a dead corpse has, mitame ba'oil, and it's avia voisa tumah. There's nothing worse than a dead person. It's worse than a sheret. It's worse than everything. Certainly his aver should be tamei. Now, how do I know I can make such a kavachomer? Maybe I can't make such a kavachomer. Says the Gemara, I'll prove it to you. Chosav b'Megillas Tainas, there's a Masechta called Megillas Tainas that says, Pischa Ze'ira, the small Pesach, meaning Pesach Sheni, the Loyle Mispad. The halacha is on Pesach Sheni. If you ever go to Levi on Pesach Sheni, Loyle Leinu, no Espadim. So what's the kavachomer? Then of course on Lela Seder you shouldn't make a hesped. It's a pretty good kavachomer, but maybe I can't make kavachomers like this. Okay, one halacha is over here, and halacha over there. How do you know that in halacha, in mitzvahs, and in isurim, I can make havachomers like that? So, but it says in Megillas Tainas that you could. Ela kol dechein, hachanami kol dechein. So over here also I can make a kavachomer. Pischazir lemispid harabel lemispad. Ela kol dechein. Of course, you can't make a hesped on regular Pesach. Hachanami kol dechein. So of course, from a human dead body, the aver should be Tomei. Omaloi, kach shomati. I heard this from my Rebbe. I have no idea why. This is the halacha finished in the story. Very rare, but that's it. That's the end of the day. So now the Gemara says, Ma'ika ben Ever min achai le'ever min hameis. What's the difference between the two? The Mishnah says that it has a tumah. This dangling aver has a tumah of min achai. It's ever min achai, and not ever min hameis. But they're both tamei. Tame is tame, so who cares? Says the Gemara, kizayis basar ve'etzem kisayra. The difference is, if I pull off a small amount of meat, what kind of tumah does it have? The snan. We learned. Kizayis basar aparish me'evim and achai. I really wish I had a good chart. This I did at 7:03. I'm not exaggerating, and that's why it looks like this. And you're not going to be able to read this. But just I did it so terrible that I couldn't blow it up because whatever. I'll explain a different time. But these are connected to this. So if I want to blow up this part, I want to just highlight this part. I couldn't because it's the same line. So if I highlight this line, this kitzer, I didn't put it in an insert like I should have because I didn't have time and I was. Agabonim, if you could read it here for these guys will read it. Fine. What's going on here? I'll read it for myself. It's very, very simple, but there's just a switch in these two shittas, Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Nechunim ben Akana. If you have a kazayis of basar from an Eiver Menachai, the whole limb fell off, and then I took off one kazayis basar. There's a difference in the shittas. They flip their shittas between a kazayis and an etzem. In a kazayis, Rabbi Eliezer says tamei, and in an etzem, Rabbi Eliezer says tahar. In a kazayis basar, Rabbi Nechunim ben Akana says tar, and in a etzem, the same Rabbi Nechunim ben Akana says tamei. They flip the shittas. They both hold the opposite when it comes to kazayis basar and etzem, kisayra. You would think, here, let's take the bottom sheet, the Rabbi Shua. Rabbi Shua says that a kazayis meat coming off a limb and a bone, a tiny little bone fragment off a human being, the size of a barley, have the exact same halacha. That would make sense to us. That's Rabbi Shua, and he says both of them are tahar. Great. But Rabbi Nechunya ben Akana says no. The bone is tamei and the piece of kazayis is tar. And Rabbi Eliezer says the exact opposite. The kazayis is tamei and the bone is tar. So now that we have that, so the Gemara says, okay, but at least I have this bottom sheet of Rabbi Shua that says they're both the same. Says the Gemara, this nan kazayis basa parish meiv min achai Rabbi Eliezer mitamei Rabbi Nechunya ben Akana Rabbi Shua mitar. You see, this Rabbi Shua, he's always going to say the word tar. Etzem kasayra, but when it comes to the bone fragment, a second ago he said tahar, now Rabbi Nechunya says tamei. Okay, so Rabbi Meir is going to say both of them are tar, like Rabbi Shua. Okay, fine. So you ask me, what's the difference between Eiver Menachai and an Eiver Menames? This halacha, that if it comes off of Eiver Menachai, the small little bone fragment is tar, according to Rabbi Meir, and the small piece of meat is tar. Fine. Hashtadas is la'achi. But once I'm mentioning these three shittas, now I could already stick in Rabbi Shimon here and say Rabbi Shimon holds like one and Rabbi Meir holds like the other. Hashtadas la'achi bein tanakama Rabbi Shimon nami kizayis batzar ve'etzem kisoyer iki beinayus. This is a little bit different. That according to Rabbi Meir, what is that? That's on YouTube?
Yeah.
Gewaldig. Hi Rabbi David, and David. Anyways, fine.
But this is ABC right now.
Yeah, but we'll have 10 seconds worth. Rabbi Yisai, today, unfortunately, the YouTube made a new rule. You need at least 1,000 people to stream live. So we have to find the solution. We'll find the solution based on by Matzah Shabbos. Gary, the tech, this is the solution. We're on the solution. What?
Use the solution. Just pull a webcam from with a user.
Right. We need a webcam and a thing. That's all. Right. That's why I brought my laptop and he brought his, but they required us to download the software.
You have streaming software.
You have to have streaming software, and it took a little bit longer. The Rabbi Meir is going to say he's going to pick one shita. Okay? Is it tar? Yes. No. Tomei. Yes. Rabbi Meir is going to hold like Rabbi Eliezer in basar, that tamei, and like Rabbi Nechunya ben Akana in etzem, that tamei. And Rabbi Shimon is going to hold like Rabbi Shua in both of them. Rabbi Shimon holds both are tahar, and very simple. There's only one shita that says both are tar. There isn't one shita that says both are tamei. So if you, Rabbi Meir, hold that both are tamei, you obviously have to hold a little bit like Rabbi Eliezer and a little bit like Rabbi Nechunya ben Akana. Have a great Shabbos, Motzi Shabbos. The shir is at 9 o'clock. What? Hadron Allah, I'm really going to miss you. 7.5 years to the next time. We have Hadron Allah,